Come join Kyle, John, and David as they go through what's on the playlist. Find out what's everyone's favourite at Chicken Soup for the Soul Entertainment. We have a few segments, to be honest. In and out points, no celebs and the gossip. Back in time where we're talking about the big M's, coming attractions, what the cue. Quick checks, who'll be laughing? You abundantly. Welcome to Dual Redundancy.
Yes, welcome to Dual Redundancy, the only podcast where you can hear all latest in television and entertainment news with too many hosts with exactly the same opinions. I'm one of those hosts, David Allen, and another one is
John Berwick, and a third one is
Kyle Bridger. I would say I'm the patient to John's White Lotus.
Oh no.
To Dave's, he's a barbarian.
Yeah,
that's what he
I figured
is.
that was where we were going once you started mentioning the quick checks in there. Okay, I'll talk about it. Yeah, We'll break down Barbarian and what the F that was in our quick check later on tonight. Yes, we also will talk about The Patient there. I got another movie. John has a game. We have the meat and potatoes tonight. The White Lotus. It's finally back. Season 2 is here. We're going to break that down. I probably should have said was like the spaghetti and meatballs instead of the meat and potatoes, I guess, yeah. For, with this season of The White Lotus. But all right, we should jump into this show. John, what's the first segment?
In and Out Points. Yes, it is In and Out Points. Now, the last 2 weeks, we have been talking about all these fantasy series. Last week, we did House of the Dragon. The week before that, we did Lord of the Rings. And this week, we're actually going to stay in that kind of universe, specifically Lord of the Rings. We're going to be not talking about the Amazon series. Instead, we're going to go back to the movies. And Warner Brothers Discoveries has partnered with Web3 firm LVO to release The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring in its entirety as a set of NFTs meant to kick off the WV Movieverse. This will allow fans to buy, sell, and trade movies as NFTs. So all your favorite Warner Brothers movies will be in this WB Movieverse NFT project that you can snatch up and do whatever you do with NFTs. John, you excited? No, why does this exist? Why are we taking an established brand that is like well loved by a lot of people and just turning it into garbage? I don't know. I can't believe that people are still trying to do NFTs. What's it been, like a year or two? I mean, who knows with the pandemic, how long it has been, because everything feels different. But why? What? The only thing that stands to gain is I guess Warner Brothers. I don't know.
Warner Brothers needs anything at this point.
Yeah,
they're canceling so much stuff. It's we'll take money any which way we can. Yeah, as an NFT. Whatever that means, sure, we'll do it. And you bring up how long have we been doing NFTs? We're still doing them. They're still a thing. And then what's going to be funny is it's like the Facebook, Twitter, Instagram thing. Oh, it starts off maybe funny on Twitter. Then a week later, you see it on Instagram. And then a month later, you see it on Facebook. It's going to be like this with NFTs. Yeah, they're already played out here. And a year from now, the older generations maybe will be like, oh, what are these NFTs? It's that's so we're on the next thing
is
here.
This the start? How many other brands and how many other things are going to be, is there going to be Harry Potter NFTs next?
Oh, for sure. It's WB Movieverse. It's going to be all their WB properties. It's going to have some NFTs. Kyle.
But then what are these people doing with the NFTs?
Nothing.
Bingo.
Holding them to resell. That's it. That's the only thing that they have value for.
But is there?
You can look at it, but so can everyone else.
Yeah, I know. I just don't. I just don't get it. You basically have a special edition DVD. Is that
I
need it broken down?
I think it's just a still frame. No.
Well, there's a couple things. Let's go through what they have here. I got some details. There's 2 different versions. They're minting 999 copies of the Epic Edition, and they're going to be priced at about 100 million. Or I almost said 100 million. It's $100 only.
$100 million. Oh my God.
$100 only.
And then there's
you turn into Dr. Evil, dude. 1 billion.
And then there's 10,000 mystery editions, which will be $30. Now, both of these are going to allow buyers to watch the extended version of the film Fellowship of the Ring in 4K UHD, along with access to the more than 8 hours of special features, hundreds of images, hidden AR collectibles. You get all that stuff in there. So yeah, it is like one of those Blu-ray special edition, packs you get. Yeah, you get the movie. Yeah, I already got the movie. Like, cool.
It didn't cost me $100 to get the movie.
Yeah. But yeah, so the Epic Edition includes navigation menus for 3 film locations: the Shire, Rivendell, and Mines of Moria, along with location-specific key art. So whatever that means, you get 3 DVD menus for different locations and special key art for those. But the Mystery Edition includes only one of those. That's why it's the price difference of $100 versus $30. 999 copies and 10,000 copies is because the Mystery Edition, you get one of these assigned at random. So you don't know you're going to get the Shire or the other, different places. You're not going to have the full collection that the Epic Edition are going to have.
So then what are you hoping people do? Buy multiple NFTs and hope to get the one that they want?
Or you play the game instead of, spending 30. Just buy the other one. Hopefully you're one of the lucky 1,000 to get the $100 Epic Edition. And then you have all of them. You have everything.
When I see something like this, I don't know if I'm the stupid one, but I'm like, how is anybody stupid enough to buy this? This is stupid.
Yeah, I just don't get the NFTs. Just straight up, we've talked about it so many times. I don't understand. Who cares? These are Pogs. These are
I was just going to say, is this like Beanie Babies for Silicon Valley? Is this what this is?
Kind of, but they're supposed to be unique. They're not supposed to be like, it's not like there's a rare one. It's unique from all the rest. So are they minting different frames, or is like everybody in the Mystery Edition getting the same lot of couple
I think they're
frames?
getting the same ones, and you just get a serial number. You have copy 24689424222. It's like,
but that's not the purpose of NFTs. No. It's supposed to be unique. So I don't know. I mean, Warner Brothers is trying to make $1. I guess they're going to go for it. Yeah, $100 million.
But yeah, they'll do whatever they can here, selling about 11,000 copies of this year, and this just starts off this WB Movieverse of all the different Warner Brothers movies you can collect NFTs for. But
I just think that there's executives somewhere going, they're really stupid enough to buy this. I just don't understand who's doing this.
Well, see, it's probably someone who's saying, yes, they're stupid enough to buy it. And meanwhile, are they really? Or is it somebody who's trying to make a commission off of it?
Yeah. Because what does this really probably cost them? If it's like the DVD special features and the film, which they already have.
The cost of hosting it, which they probably already have online for internal stuff anyway. Like,
exactly. It's like they have all this stuff there. It's like, yeah, we can make an extra copy. Like that's the whole thing with all these like special editions, or like that Spider-Man movie that went back into theaters. The more fun stuff edition. It's like what, you have 2 minutes of bonus features that were deleted scenes that you cut out of the movie to begin with, and now I have to pay the ticket again just for those 2 minutes.
They had to pay an intern to pick 100 frames out of the movie that they liked.
Probably.
I mean, I don't mean to be a hater to something that I truly don't understand, that makes me feel super old, but like, this just sounds like DVD extra stuff.
Yeah. And some of it's like the images, it's like, okay. It's like I remember like when you have a DVD and like, I would always start off and be like, oh, the audio commentary, definitely listening to that. Ooh, deleted scenes, I'll check those out. And then you would get like farther down and it'd be like production stills or upcoming trailers, and it would be like trailers of it's like, I don't need this. Like, this is just filling up the disc. Like, but I don't know. That's what Warner Brothers is doing. Maybe NBC Universal.
Dude, hang on.
Oh,
sorry.
My goodness.
I'm gonna ruin your segue, but I bet you, because it's in the universe, right, that Game of Thrones is going to have a Starbucks NFT. Guarantee it. The Starbucks mess up. That's an NFT.
Okay.
DVD
I think that's possible. I definitely think that's possible.
All right, now you can segue.
All right. This is what Warner Brothers is doing, but maybe a company like NBC Universal will need to add NFTs to Peacock because it seems to be struggling. Here. In a recent earnings call, it was reported that Peacock has 15 million paid subscribers. And I have a couple different stories all related to Peacock. This is almost like, what the hell is going on at Peacock segment if we had What the Q, but for Peacock. I'm going to Vulture TV critic Joe Adalian really summed it up pretty well in some tweets. I'm going to kind of paraphrase a little bit here. But he said, even after cutting the price to under $2 a month for a year, moving shows off of Hulu and NBC for like next day viewing, Peacock will have added a net 2 million subs over the last 6 months. Peacock started the year at 9 million subs, and it had the Olympics, Super Bowl, endless promotion from NBC, pretty big movies on Peacock first or even soon after theaters, and it will still end 2022 under 20 million subscribers. And again, they're at 15 million at least right now. It's so small. And to make matters even worse, according to a CNBC report, coincidentally, CNBC shares a parent company with Peacock and NBC Universal. They said executives have pitched multiple other streamers on forming an alliance. IndieWire confirmed that they've reached out to HBO Max, Paramount Plus, Starz, AMC Plus to bundle their services together. This way, they would immediately gain subscribers and also reduce churn. But so far, no takers. Nobody wants to bundle with Peacock. What do you think of all these stories of what's going on with Peacock? I know, Kyle, you have Peacock. You are one of those 15 million paid subscribers. Mm-hmm. What do you think of this service, and are they in trouble?
I mean, you're gonna hate me for this, but I got Peacock after my strongly worded.
Yeah, you had a Kyle's Corner. Yeah, I
know.
remember.
I was so upset about this, but they got me. I wanted to watch the Premier League, so they got me to subscribe in that way.
And
I got it as a gift, though. I got it as a gift. So, but yeah, that's really all I use it for. And I watch maybe some Parks and Rec every now and again. But honestly, even with the Olympic stuff, when I was watching some of their Olympics coverage on there, it was really confusing about where I should go. The interface wasn't user-friendly at all. They had a lot of stuff, but it was like, I can't keep track of the schedule. What is happening on this platform right now? And I know they've had some problems with wrestling. I think was having problems on here, and wrestling is has a big audience too. So I don't know. I think they're in trouble just because I think all these streaming services are in trouble because I mean, everything's so fractured. People can't afford to pay all of these different services because now it's like cable plus. And I wouldn't be surprised if people start going back to maybe even like physical media on a smaller level just to make sure that they can NFTs. Watch this stuff. Oh yeah, the NFT. But just like having that physical copy that you can watch, because if Peacock goes under, I imagine they're gonna find a landing spot, but how do you know all the content that was on there is going to be somewhere else? You know,
HBO's taking off. HBO's taking off content. You know, and with Peacock, they're constantly changing deals and stuff. Like, where's this going? Where's that going? And it's like, I want to be able to watch this movie. Well, it's like, well, this month it's on this service. But wait, it's a NBC Universal film. No, not this month. It's owned by this company for licensing. And Dark brings up in the chat as well. It's like, all these streaming services they didn't think about the cost of living, the crisis we find ourselves in right now. It's like, I mean, everyone's kind of, trying to make cuts wherever they can because these are really starting to add up. And I know for myself, I have the free version of Peacock, and I'll go to it, and everything has the little peacock feather on the corner there. That means I have to get to a different tier plan, and it's like it's all the good stuff. There's nothing you can even watch, and it's like, okay, well, I guess I won't
Why
use this
bother?
service. Yeah. Why bother? But yeah, it's just.
What if? So are these other companies actually like trying to block NBC Universal out? Like, hey, we're gonna screw them over. We know they're in trouble, and we're gonna box them out.
Is it that, or just nobody wants the content because of how they're handling themselves?
I mean, either way,
I mean?
it's not good news for NBC Universal.
I think it's a little bit of both of what you guys were saying, and I think like these other services, it's like a lot of them are doing well. I mean, even Paramount Plus, we can make jokes about it, but it has 3 times the paid subscribers of Peacock. I mean, and we don't know what they're like. We don't really talk about a lot of their programming, their original programming, but there's definitely people there checking out Paramount Plus, and I can't say the same for Peacock. It's just like, I don't know. I don't even really know some of the content. Like some of their things sound interesting, but like I feel like we've watched a couple of premieres and they kind of just don't feel like anything.
I'm just thinking, with how much content there is out there, you would have to have like something blockbuster in order to get people to actually sign on to your...
It needs to be big. We need to be big now.
It needs to be huge in order for somebody to subscribe. And even then, are you going to get them to subscribe for a long period of time? I don't know. But we're talking like major events in order to get people to subscribe. I would assume, on a personal level, with just how many streaming services there are, it would have to be really, really good in order for me to.
And that goes back to Joe Adalian's kind of thing of like, Peacock had the Olympic Super Bowl and all these movies, and they can't do it. And that's like, what's that say? And I just think, like to go back to like the bundling, it's like there's no takers because it's like, well, if it's so small, it's like we already Peacock, at Paramount Plus, 3 times the paid subscribers is Peacock. It's like, well, if we bring them in, they get to then say, yeah, they're part of our ecosystem of our paid subscriptions. No, like we got those subscribers on our own. Get your own subscribers. Like you figure it out. We don't need like this like sandbag on us, bringing us down. But you would think after everything we just said, they would really want to focus on the hits that they have and not give anything away. You would think. But for season 3, the Emmy-nominated comedy series Girls 5 Eva will be moving from Peacock to Netflix. This deal gives the rights to Girls 5 Eva for the first 2 seasons to both Peacock and Netflix, but season 3 will be a Netflix-only exclusive. So both services now get to have those 2 seasons of this show. But since now it's a Netflix show, Netflix gets seasons 3, 4, 5, and all that kind of hoopla for it.
They must be really hurting for cash if they're willing to give up a property just to license out the rights to the show. This seems crazy to me.
Yeah, especially because we don't know the ratings because none of these streamers release ratings. But it's an Emmy-nominated show. It was one of their first big things. My Twitter timeline seems to be really, really excited just for its renewal. And it's like, how many people, are going to watch it? Oh, when season 3 rolls out, I'm going to go watch the reruns on Peacock. It's like, no, I have Netflix. I'll watch them on Netflix. Yeah. Now they're in the Netflix ecosystem. They're not going to Peacock. This is a weird decision to share it between the two and then have all the new stuff be on this other one. And the executive producers issued a joint statement from the show, and they said, "Today we are thrilled to announce that our reunited girl group will be reunited at Netflix. We are so thankful to everyone at the streamer who fell in love with our music-filled comedy. We cannot wait to introduce Dawn, Wiki, Summer, and Gloria to a global Netflix audience." I think that was a purposeful choice of words there. To a global Netflix audience, because they even know, we're excited about this because now people are going to watch it. People are going to be able to see it. And I'm probably one of those people. I wanted to check this out. I don't have Peacock. It's not going to be on Netflix. Maybe I'll check it out now. Now I can check it out. And it's just wild to me because they did a very similar thing. I feel like for Tina Fey's Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. These are both Tina Fey productions. NBC initially passed on Kimmy Schmidt. Netflix picked it up. It blew up. Yeah, it became huge. And if you look at other stuff Netflix took, Cobra Kai, they took that from YouTube Red. That thing is huge. That thing is a huge show. You from Lifetime, they picked
That became a big show for Netflix.
Yeah.
And you have to like thank them for the rating success of shows like Schitt's Creek. I mean, that was on Pop, and it became what it was because of Netflix. So it's like, this is only going to probably help this show and Netflix. And in the end, I don't think it's really going to help Peacock at all, except like, I don't know, I guess they get some licensing money from it.
Yeah.
Do you think this is more of a Netflix flex or a Peacock like trying to tread water? Because I mean, the idea of it going global and Peacock maybe not having the infrastructure or the ability to do that, maybe Peacock's like, this is our ticket to, you know, this show is doing great for us, but this is how we really make some money, and Netflix is going like, oh yeah, we could do that. Like, I don't know, I could see that happening too, for sure.
We would have to see the deal, because it's like, it becomes big, but it's like one of those things we've always talked about. Like, what is the global audience going to think about this show? They're going to be like, oh, it's Netflix, man, another home run from Netflix. Good job, Netflix. And it's like, well, even if that money's flowing,
Peacock. If that money's flowing back to Peacock through,
I just don't know
percentage
if, like,
deal, or
it must be like
a
very certain percentage, because the season 3, they're putting probably so much production costs into that they're going to own probably a large portion of that. I'd be surprised if it's not majority owned by Netflix.
But still, you get a certain percentage back for doing nothing on top of whatever one-time deal they have to acquire it all. Maybe it is the right move for them, I mean, Netflix has been known to kind of toss money around they don't have. Like,
it is true.
Maybe they were just like, we want it. What is it going to take? And they got it. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah. I will say, this also could be a ploy, stay nice with Tina Fey, want that relationship to be good, at NBC, Peacock. They don't want to just outright cancel something. Peacock has been unable to really get a lot of comedies to work. No show has made it to a third season comedy-wise for them. Saved by the Bell, like all those comedy shows that they've done, they haven't worked. And if you look at their next few comedies coming out, they're all kind of really based on IPs. It's like there's a Pitch Perfect spinoff with the guy from Workaholics. There's a Ted prequel series from, Seth MacFarlane there. So it's like they're all based on these like IP things in their comedies. So
I don't know, man. I think they're they're in big trouble, and I think this deal is probably a sign of that.
And I will say, I'll give them at least a little bit of praise. Just a few hours ago, before dinner, I was on the Twitter and I saw that they made an alliance actually with Hallmark. They're gonna house some of their programming, which actually is probably a smart move, because especially because this holiday season's coming up, people are going to be tuning in for those Hallmark movies and stuff like that. Dude, so that was a smart move by them. But
those things are so popular. I think that's where Hallmark makes all their money, is at the end of the year. From
no more greeting cards.
No more greeting cards. It's for, the cabin in the woods type holiday romance.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll get the Hallmark and the Chicken Soup mega merger. And it'll be like all the feel good movies is just owned by one person.
And you can pick them up at your local Redbox. Perfect. Yeah. All right. That is it for In and Out Points tonight. We got a show to talk about. Season 2. We're excited about it. Send us back, guys.
Back in time.
We're back, baby.
Gotta get back in time.
The White Lotus is here. Season 2. Ciao. And it was, last night, October 30th. This anthology series details a week in the life of vacationers as they relax and rejuvenate in paradise. But with each passing day, a darker complexity emerges in these picture-perfect travelers, the hotel employees, and the locale itself, which this time is in Sicily. And so, all right, here it's crazy that this thing, blew up last summer, and it was supposed to be an anthology, a COVID, makeshift show. Became huge, won so many Emmys, and somehow within just over a year, Mike White was somehow able to write, direct, and release a whole other season of this show in that amount of time. We have season 2 here. Start me off, Kyle. Thoughts
on the premiere episode?
I enjoyed it. I liked it. Definitely, laying the little piece of toast, the breadcrumbs are there. I do enjoy it. I will say something that you always talk about, Dave, is using the flashback from the beginning, like that trope. Now that you mention it, I see it
first
all
2
the
minutes.
time. Yeah, I see it all the time now. But what I like about the show so far is like your first assumption or impression of a character can kind of turn based on the more information that we get. And it's like, because you meet Aubrey Plaza's character and you're like, man, this woman's high strung. She sucks. Like, this is the worst. And then you learn about the other couple and you're like, man, these people are weird, dude.
So in
like,
comparison,
yeah, it's like, what is happening here? So I thought it was, there's just like these little things. We got these prostitutes. How do they factor into all this? Jennifer Coolidge's marriage is something weird's going on there. And then the vibe between these two couples is super weird. We got this, Aubrey Plaza's character is a lawyer. It seems like Theo James's character has some like underlying like harassment charges. And he's like, well, some of these charges are all, whatever, bluster. And then he's like coming in and just pulling like a Louis C.K. and like dropping his drawers and just right in front of this woman. I'm like, no wonder he is so, there's something lingering there. I'm glad I mentioned all those and you had all those queued
We're
up.
ready.
That is fantastic.
We got the clips, we got the pictures, we're ready to go. TV, family friendly, of course.
Yeah.
No, there's a lot going on with them. And that's, what I like is this show just, you learn so much about these people throughout all these different experiences, but also how they interact with the rest of our cast. Like each episode in the first season, it would be like, okay, this week we're going to pair these two and these two together. Okay, next week it'll be these three and those two. And it's like every week you get a different combination of people and see how they can interact with each other. And I can't wait to see all the different combos this season. And this season definitely starts off in like a familiar spot, right off the top. You mentioned it, Kyle, dead body, dead bodies in the water, flashback, 7 days before, we get always like this show is within a week. I think each episode is a day. So you get like 6 or 7 episodes there. And, they're arriving on the boat. They're all waving, just like they did in the first one. But then as we're meeting the cast, it's like, first you're like, oh, these two are going to be this couple and these two are going to be that couple. Like, oh, they're actually a little different with this one. Or maybe this pairing's a little different. And then you see all the differences and the similarities throughout the whole thing. And this one is definitely the sequel. It's amped up a bit because there was one dead body the first time. We got multiple this time. It's like, okay, where's this mystery gonna go? Before I get into each kind of couple, we'll go through each group here. John, what did you think of the premiere?
Yeah, I think I'd have to echo what you guys are saying. I mean, they're setting it up very similar to last season, but it's not 100% the same. It seems like it's a little bit more refined, and I don't know, they're setting it up. I was excited for it. I know we'll talk a little bit about it later, but the music's still just as good, if not better. And yeah, I'm interested. I'm waiting for the next episode. So they did their job, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, and there's a lot of setup. We'll definitely talk about some maybe foreshadowing and some setup that they've done. I want to kind of go maybe kind of group by group, and that will probably be the best way to kind of sum up all the different storylines because there's a lot going on. Well, we'll start off with the group that Kyle already mentioned. We got this kind of double date group, 2 married couples. The husbands are friends, or at least on paper, maybe. Are they actually friends? Aubrey Plaza doesn't think they actually are, but Aubrey Plaza is married to kind of like some tech husband, maybe just sold his company. And then the other two are, for lack of a better term, airheads. They're just, they don't vote. They don't read the news. They don't read. And
Yeah.
There's already something. I mean, they're setting up the Aubrey Plaza, Theo James's character. He's winking on the boat to her. You know, she's like, you know, when they're talking about, oh, we can join these rooms. Nope, we're not going to do that. And at first I'm like, whoa, was there something here to begin with?
Yeah.
Like, was there already maybe an incident before? But then as the episode goes, as you were kind of saying, you're learning more information. No. This guy is just, she can read it. This guy is a dick.
Yeah.
And speaking of, we then see said dick. You know, in front of, I guess she saw it in the reflection of the mirror, but it was very purposeful what he is doing there. So I don't know what this means for the future. She has already told her husband about this. He doesn't seem that concerned, at least at the moment.
No, let's go to that moment at the end, because there's that moment where he's like looking at the sculpture or whatever, and he's like, to me it's a look of like fuming, like he knows what this dude is capable of. I think he knows more about this dude than he's letting on to his wife, and I think that comment actually probably had more of an effect than...
He's quiet right now, but next week when maybe the two of them are together, if he can, I don't know, work up the courage, he might like call his friend out.
That's interesting. I read it as more of a, like, not realization, but like almost a hint of like getting it, like, oh, maybe he's not my friend. You know what I mean? Less so of like, oh, he knows him, he knows what he's up to, his tricks, and more
that's
like
possible,
more questioning, like, is it possible that he's, you know, that's kind of how I read it. I mean, I easily could have misread it, but or maybe it's meant to be kind of ambiguous, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely a complex relationship, especially between Aubrey and her husband there. Because even like when they were at dinner and they're kind of like talking about like, you know, splitting items off the menu and, you know, I want to split this salad. Oh, you're going to get the fish. Oh, that's to be too fishy for me. I don't want that. And it's like, is that supposed to kind of show that maybe she's the more like dominant one in the relationship, or like, because they can afford everything on the menu. He just sold his tech company. They could get one of each if they really wanted to, but it's like specific. They said that, and like he ended up caving, right? I think that was what happened. Like, like tonight we'll get the pasta, and then maybe tomorrow we'll get the fish or whatever. And so I think that was an interesting scene to show in that situation of, but yeah. So there's also a little bit of foreshadowing that they set up. Or maybe it could be red herring. There's a lot of that as well. Theo James's wife, I think it's Daphne, talks about how she watches Dateline and said something to the effect of, you know, husbands are killing their wives all the time. Happens all the time. You know, it could be a scuba diving accident. You take off the oxygen thing. That's very interesting that was called out there.
She purposely mentioned on vacation too.
Yeah. So that'll be interesting to see if that, you know, comes back. If anyone goes scuba diving, be careful.
Oh man. Well, weren't they practicing for scuba diving in the first one?
Yeah, they were. Yep. Let's see here. Another couple that seems at least a bit rocky. We get the return of Jennifer Coolidge's Tanya, and now she's with her now husband, Uncle Rico, Greg. He's here. So.
Yeah, there's something really, really... Well, that woman was already strange, but there's something weird going on here.
Yeah.
I don't know how, but this character...
Doesn't work.
Cannot stand her in this one. And am I supposed to not like her? Like, I don't know. It just... when I heard that she was going to be in the second season, I was like, why? Like, I did not like the character at all.
White likes Jennifer Coolidge. That's why.
I guess. I don't know. I mean, if they're trying to play her as like, you know, kind of annoying or whatever, then yeah, I guess that makes sense. But man, wouldn't have been my first choice. I would have picked Armand, to be honest.
Well, sorry about that one. I will say for her, I feel like I like her character more after we got the arc that we did for her in season 1, because I was with you guys in that premiere episode of season 1, and I was like, this isn't working for me. I'm more okay with it. Still not my favorite character of the show, but
there's some stuff here. I mean, she also brought her assistant onto this trip. Who seems like a fun character who's just trying to make it with a high profile, probably demanding boss, and that's not great for Greg because he thought, this is supposed to be a romantic weekend of the two of us. I don't want to see her the whole time. So it's like, you got to stay in your room. Sorry, assistant, you're in the room for the week. And it's like, and of course that she's not going to do that. She's in Italy. She's going to be out and about. But so we'll have to see how all that plays out. But yeah, there's definitely something going on with Uncle Rico.
Because he's having a phone conversation in the bedroom and he's whispering. It's like, is he having an affair? Is he in some kind of trouble, or who knows?
Yeah. So I don't know. This is 4D chess. I'm looking at the poster of the season, the official poster. There's like everyone in the cast, the three Italian guys we're going to talk about in a minute, the foursome we've already mentioned, Jennifer Coolidge, the assistant. I don't see him on the poster. So it's like, oh, is he not going to be around for the whole season? Like, what's going on? But so we'll talk about the our last group, I think. Our trio of DeGrasso men here. They are here, I think, like trying to trace back some ancestry in Sicily. And this trio of men includes Michael Imperioli and his dad, the very flirtatious, pervy, farting F. Marie Abraham. What did you think of this trio there, John?
I can see where they're going to get into some trouble. Yeah. I think that they play off each other very well, so I'm kind of excited to see how it develops. But I can see what they're going for. I think it works so far,
Yeah. I'm really curious where this is going, especially because we kind of get this like storyline like throughout the episode that, as Kyle mentioned, there's two sex workers, or at least one sex worker and her friend are trying to get into the hotel. One of them's been chatting with an American, this whole time, and we find out at the by the end of the episode, it's Michael Imperioli's character that she's been chatting with, and we see them end up hooking up at the end, and he has somebody at home. That person is not happy with him at home, that's for sure. So I don't know like what his home life is like. Obviously he probably at least has an ex-wife. He has one son here, but does he have more kids, or what situation?
It sounded like he had another daughter or something, like another kid. Yeah,
so that's definitely a complex issue, and I'm sure this adventure in Italy is going to create more issues. That's for sure. But that leads me into my other red herring or foreshadowing here when we're talking about death, because we see these sculptures throughout the episode. And there's the hotel worker, kind of gives us the summary of what it is. It's called the Testa di Morio. He explains the story is that Amor came here a long time ago and seduced a local girl. But then she found out that he had his wife and children back home. So because he lied to her, she cut his head off. And Daphne tells Cameron in this situation, oh, that's a warning to husbands, babe. Screw around and you'll end up in the garden. And obviously, like, that woman on the phone doesn't seem to care at all. And it sounds like, as possibly as like this, this young woman, I think she probably knows that this man has a kid and, an ex-wife and this and that. So I don't know if it's a perfect parallel, but it's interesting that, again, that this was brought up in the premiere episode, whether it's going to happen to this couple or maybe somebody else, another man at the White Lotus resort here that we've met so far.
That's true. I just think it's also funny that, we look at Michael Imperioli's character as like a nice guy. He's trying to protect these women from, his father, dad, who's flirtatious as all hell, and then he's hiring a sex worker at night, and who knows? It seems like it could be a habitual thing that caused whatever the problems that is happening in his marriage. So, it's just that's kind of ironic there.
Yeah. There's one last person I want to talk about before we get into some other little things, but this season's, I guess, Armand. We haven't gotten much of her yet. The manager at the White Lotus, Cicely. I will say she's blunt. She tells the guests, "Hey, you're old." Like she's just, you know, just straight to the point. But we haven't gotten too much from her yet. Mostly was there just to chase the two young women out of the hotel. But I don't know. I'm hoping for something here because Armand was such a good character. Murray Bartlett there was so good. So I'm just hoping, and that's what I'm hoping too. That like right now in this first episode, we haven't had our hotel guests really interact much with the hotel staff, which that was a huge thing in the White Lotus season 1, and that's what I'm kind of hoping for, that kind of dynamic between these, you know, dumb, you know, American, you know, rich people, and then like this group that's just trying to just make it, you know. But well, we gotta mention the theme song. Nothing was gonna top last year's theme. No,
it is so good. I accidentally played the first season. When I went back in, and that theme started up, and I'm like, damn, this thing's so good, man.
I will say I really liked the attempt, though. I think it still works for this specific season because it starts off very angelic, and you got the paintings pretty much from the Sistine Chapel, but then all of a sudden it like gets remixed, and you get into the beat from the last season, but with these angelic like opera voices, and the images get more like bloody and sexual, and just like as it goes. John, did you like the new theme?
I really liked it. I haven't listened to the last season theme since the finale, maybe once or twice afterward. But so hearing that come back, and not that I wasn't expecting it, but like it starts off without it, so I was like, oh, all right, they're doing something a little bit different, and then it sneaks in and it builds. I really enjoyed it. I if I listen to them back to back, I'm sure I'd probably go with the season 1 as well. But not having that reference and getting that kind of surprise, you know, midway through, I really enjoyed it. I liked it.
Yeah, because I mean, they could have pulled a House of the Dragon and done the exact same one, but like this makes it fit the location, and you know, adds, you know, a little tweak, but keeps it the same. I think I really like what they did for season 2. But let's just mention season 3 real quick, because it's possible. We never know. About a week or so ago, Mike White said in an interview, he said, quote, "We just turned in our last episode to the network yesterday, so it's hard to think about the next race. But if we did, I think it'd be fun to maybe go to a whole different continent. You know, we did Europe, maybe Asia, something crazy like that. That would be fun.
Maybe Thailand, or the next vacation spot that I might want to go to.
This guy,
why
he's
not?
Figured out the system, man.
We did the Amalfi Coast, where everyone has their honeymoon, and we did Hawaii, where every American does their honeymoon. So why not Thailand?
Next one's on the moon. Oh.
I mean, not a bad gig. Going to these 4 Seasons resorts and having HBO pay for it. And then as for a possible cast return, sorry, John, quote, "Jennifer is my friend and everybody loved her in the first season. And I was like, I can't go to Italy without Jennifer. And maybe that's still the case. Like maybe you can't go to Japan without Jennifer either. There are so many fun actors we've worked with so far. So it's kind of just who's available. So I'd be interested in seeing in, like, you know, maybe season 3 we follow Aubrey Plaza's character to a new place, or maybe we pull somebody from season 1 and go, or one from season 1, one from season 2, and then go to see, like, it obviously you're gonna have to start when you start really making people all come together. It's like you're gonna have to suspend disbelief a little bit, because it's like, oh, those two happen to go to the same, you know. But
we need a Breaking Bad prologue for Armand.
That'd be cool.
You know? I think that was kind of what I was hoping season 2 would be, back when they kind of were talking about it, you know, like obviously we're not going to get a post season 1 with him, but you know, it would be cool
at
to
first
kind of
that's what I was like hoping, like, too. But like before we know what happened, spoiler, I guess, for season 1, like before we knew that, I was like, maybe like he gets transferred because he was doing such a bad job, quote unquote, at, you know, at this Hawaii resort. He gets transferred to Sicily or a different place. I'm like, oh, that'd be cool seeing him in a different spot. But
not quite.
It sounds like you're probably gonna get more Jennifer, because she's like, what is it, like she's in the Rose Petal club or whatever, the
I used to be a twig.
Yeah, now I'm a blossom, but all right. Well, I'm definitely in for season 2. I think you guys are as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll have to wait and see what season 2 and possibly multiple, or season 3 and 4 or 5 we'll have in store. But we have some time tonight. We got a couple extra ones to talk about, and we'll go quickly into them. What is it? I always gotta change it up, Finding John. I gotta keep it fresh. So this week we all have one, and then Kyle and I have a shared one because we both saw Barbarian, and that initially was in theaters September 9th, but it just dropped on HBO Max this weekend. And this horror thriller is about a woman staying at an Airbnb, and she discovers that the house she has rented is not what it seems. Now, I think we'll try to go our best with keeping it spoiler free for at least a little bit, but unfortunately I think at some point we're gonna have to talk spoilers. But if you can, really go into this thing without knowing anything, because I didn't know anything other than that line there. So I'm sorry, John, if we're gonna, but even I think we're gonna explain it, you're gonna be like, what the F? Like, what the hell is this? So that's one thing, but I'll let you start real quick, Kyle. What did you think of Barbarian?
Man, this thing is creepy. I watched it at home. I don't do well with like creepy, scary movies. I had to turn on the mute button at points because the music was too good, and it was just intense. I'm like, I can't handle this. This is too much. So it is very creepy. I wouldn't say it's like scary, but it's creepy as hell, man. And I like how there's a major shift in the middle of the movie that makes you go, what in the heck is happening? And they're able to connect it all at the end, albeit it does get a little bit kooky crazy at the end.
A little kooky.
Yeah, it gets a little bit kooky crazy at the end, so that kind of took me out of it right at the end. But overall, man, this thing is really, really good. I liked it. I highly recommend it.
Yeah, it's almost like 3 movies in one. And they really played with like your expectations and like the horror tropes in each one. And especially, I'll just stick with the first one because it's not too spoilery, but like the whole like misdirect with Bill Skarsgård, where it's like, is he a good guy? Oh no, he's overdoing it. No, he's probably bad. Or then you reverse it back. Maybe he is good. No, he's bad. Yeah. Like even as you're you're going down into the the basement there, and you're like, oh, he's leading her down there. It's like, is he? No, maybe. Yeah. No, he's not. No, he is. Like you're constantly, and there's so much like suspense. Like that's the thing for me. Like I was just like, it was suspenseful. It was foreboding, and every turn when they were going down that basement, it was like there's another obstacle, there's another gated door, and you're like, don't go on the other side of that because he can pull it. Like, and then he keeps going a little further. Yeah. Don't go through there because he can pull it. It's like, oh my god, like turn around, go away. You just met this guy, leave him. But so like the whole time you're just like you're yelling at the TV, come on, don't do that. And
I gotta say, Bill Skarsgård is a perfect casting choice for that, because he can be equal parts like, he just has a creepy like look about him, but it's also like European enough where it's like he could be friendly too. So it's just the juxtaposition that he can do with it is so crazy.
Yeah. And then you got Justin Long there. Is he a dick? And then it's like, yeah, he is. And like, but like you're kind of like learning information about him, and like, oh, maybe he learned from his mistakes. So you get this big moment at the end. Maybe he's a better person, and that lasts for like 5 seconds before he does what he does at the very end. It's like, come on, it's just like, but speaking of the end, that's my like one like thing. The last like 5-10 minutes, it was like maybe too over the top with whatever like twist or big moments it was. It was almost too much, and like especially for both our heroine and also the villain, for both to have like superhuman strength to survive what they do. It's just like, okay, I know it's a movie, but it's a little too much.
Yep. But I feel the same exact way.
And I think we're pretty good. We really just brushed the surface of this. So John, I think you should jump into this thing, and maybe at some point we could do like a spoiler version of Barbarian. But I think like, does this sound interesting at all to you? Too scary?
I'm not a horror movie person by any stretch, but I'll give it a shot. I'll give it a shot.
It's wild.
I like Bill Skarsgård, so
it's wild. But I'll leave it at that. But definitely, I think we all, at least the two of us, both recommend Barbarian.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll talk about another movie I saw this weekend as well. I saw Armageddon Time. It was released in limited theaters this past weekend. I attended a Q&A with actually Jeremy Strong this weekend. So that was, I got a little bit inside info of the movie here. And this movie is a personal, semi-autobiographical coming-of-age story from director and writer James Gray. It's about the strength of family and the generational pursuit of the American dream. And it has just an all-star cast of, as I mentioned, Jeremy Strong, Anne Hathaway, Anthony Hopkins. You got the Oscar Beatty stuff here. And I mentioned all those actors, but like one of the high points of the film, I think, is the younger actor. We're seeing it through a boy's perspective. Michael Banks Rapida is the actor, and I think he holds his own, especially going against Jeremy Strong, Anne Hathaway, and Anthony Hopkins, specifically Anthony Hopkins. I really loved the connection between him and Anthony Hopkins. That's the boy's grandfather, and they were able to connect. Not just as actors, but also as their characters, because they had like this very special bond, because it was like he's the only character that actually like treated him with respect. And you're gonna see this thing throughout the movie of just like, it's like it's set in 1980. It's set with kind of before the Reagan election, and so it's dealing with politics. Like the boy ends up attending a private school run by Donald Trump's sister Marianne, and race, religion, but it's all like told through like kind of like the kid's eye in a way. So it's like his version of like their family. It's like, yeah, like my family's rich, and it's like you kind of know they're not rich, but like he thinks they are, and like and the way he interacts with his friends and stuff like that. So I will say it's a solid drama. There's no thrills like Barbarian, and it's a very familiar story. It is like an Oscar bait, coming of age, like check marks, like Oscar film. But I think the performances is what makes it, especially for me. I mean, Anthony Hopkins, you always like write him off, but then he always ends up delivering. Even in that movie, which I was like, oh, do I have to see? What was the movie? The Father, like a year or two ago. Do I really have to see this? And then I watched him, like I was blown away by his performance. And it's exactly that. It's not gonna, I don't think, reinvent the wheel here, but it's still a solid drama. So, good. All right, Kyle, what do you got?
So I have an old quick check of yours, I believe, and it's called The Patient. Caught up with the entire series here. At moments, there's a lot of heart in this show. I was digging the back and forth between the actual patient and Steve Carell, and unlike Dave, I think Steve Carell is a good actor. But
whoa!
I'm just.
I think I'll say right quick here. I think it takes time, and depending on the role. Like when I first am watching it, the first episode or two, I'm not buying it. Those first 20 minutes.
No, I know.
Because I hear the Anchorman, the Michael Scott. Yeah. But as it went on, especially towards the end, I believe the character he's playing.
Yeah, no, I'm just messing with you. I'm just giving you a hard time. But yeah, I thought the back and forth between them was good. But I remember sending you a text saying like, I hope it like goes somewhere, because it just doesn't feel like this is gonna get old. And they did add in some different elements. I mean, we see some outrageous stuff happen right in front of the therapist, like the patient kills somebody right in front of him, and then you see the mother's introduced and how she influences things, and then we follow Domhnall Gleeson sometimes, which I felt weirdly, I wanted that stuff to happen, but I felt like it took away from this kind of intimate thing that they had created. With all that said, I think this could have done with a few, like 2 less episodes than maybe it did.
I agree.
And really, and made it like a tight 8, because I think it was 10, right? I think. And we could have made it like a tight 8, and it would have been much better. But like a lot of heart in it, great performances. But that would be my only thing. I think it was just a little too long. A couple of episodes too many.
I agree with a lot of what you're saying here, because I wonder if it would work better as a movie or maybe as a binge instead of watching like we did week to week, because every week you kind of get into this like groove with the show, and after 20 minutes, because a lot of those first couple episodes are 20 minutes long, it's like that's it, like you're just into the world, you just got into it, and now you have to wait a week, and like then you have to start it up again, and like even though they were only 20-30 minute episodes, I definitely think like the middle could have been maybe trimmed a bit, because for me the finale was just how much I felt about the series in general. It was kind of like a roller coaster where I loved the beginning, the cliffhangers, each week I was dying for more, but then I feel like the middle episodes kind of felt a bit like, oh, we're treading water, like where are we going, like we're okay, and then the last 2 were back to being exciting, and I felt like the same way with the finale. It's like spoilers about the finale of The Patient here, but like, oh, Steve Carell made it, he got out. Nope, he just died in an attempt, to get out. Oh, that's it? That's how we're ending this? Nope. I'm kind of, he's maybe going to set himself in his own jail at home? Okay, like, it was kind of like, where are we landing this plane? And I don't know, like, I was even thinking, like, I was almost after, because there were so many, like, this is how we're ending, or this is how we're ending. And, like, when he, turned out just died, I'm like, oh, like, there has to be something at the end here. And eventually we get the end of he locks himself, puts him in his own jail kind of way. But I was ready for like a big like reveal where it's like, just like how we saw him put the crumpled up note with the address in the other dead guy in the body to be discovered by police. I thought maybe like he knew that this was a hopeless mission of him taking on, possibly killing the Gleason's mother here. And, he would probably end up dead anyway. So maybe he could put in the note in his mouth or on his body somewhere, because as we find out that because Domino Gleason told his kids about where the body was, because in his religion, it's important to have a body for burial. It's like, oh, he would have known that and be able to get the note to somebody. So I was expecting kind of something like that, some kind of extra thing. But instead, we kind of got himself put into his own little therapy at home jail situation. And I guess in a weird way, therapy helped them all. I mean, whether it was Carell in his little daydream, he accepts his son and his family. The killer puts himself into kind of his own, prison to better himself. And then even the son entered therapy. So I guess therapy wins. Like that's the ending, I guess.
I guess so, man. Yeah. I mentioned this to you personally, but the bringing up of Kenny Chesney was hilarious, but then also weirdly dark as it went along. It was such a weird,
very specific,
yeah, so weird, but it was so funny. Oh man. But there was no way that you thought Steve Carell's character was coming out of there alive. No chance. But good attempt. That was a big, like on my seat. Whoa, oh wait, where are we going here? Yeah.
But all right, so that's The Patient. That was on Hulu. John, what is your quick check?
I have a game called Egression, as in egress, as in leaving. It's by, I believe, Hyperquad Studio, the people who made it. It is basically a VR escape room. In fact, there are several escape rooms. There are 2 that are available right now, an easier one and a harder one. Excuse me. I was able to play through both of them, and this was a really cool game. I can tell from playing it that they took a lot of time to put every detail where it goes. There's tons of stuff hidden all over the place, little secrets to find. If you if you pick up all the garbage from everywhere in the level and throw it in the trash bin, there's like lines that the announcer says and stuff like that. So there's all sorts of little Easter eggs hidden all over the place. And I like that they implemented everything in a really grounded way to reality. Like there's one where you have to go in a submarine underwater, and they could have done that where, like, you know, there's water and the submarine goes underwater and all that stuff. But instead, you know, the posters like out the window just scroll, and, you know, there's water. And then when you go out in a dive suit, when you go in like the airlock, there's just a little water thing that rises up to show that, you know, it's like you would do in real life, where, you know, you just have some kind of mechanical thing, and, you know, there's a shark that drives around on a track, you know, and it was really well done. The puzzles were very clever and well thought out. Really make you think, and kind of, you know, not so linear thinking, a little bit of logic and puzzle and analytics and stuff like that. And overall, I really enjoyed it. It was a great time to play, and I'm kind of hoping that they release a few more levels. It sounds like they want to. Right now there are 2 and some bonus stuff. So hopefully they have the opportunity to release some more, and you know, they're just as good as these 2 that I played. So
Nice.
hopeful.
And where can they play this again? How does it work?
Yeah, it's on Steam, so you need a headset that you can a VR headset that you can connect to Steam. So there's several options you could do there, but if you have one of those, you can buy a
VR
version off of
headset.
Steam.
Do you have legs in this version, or is that only on the Meta?
No, there's no legs. There's
okay.
only floating hands. But
have you ever smashed something when you playing VR?
Have I? I was trying to throw darts at balloons on the ceiling in this game, and I punched my ceiling.
That could be dangerous.
Because my ceiling in real life, I can pretty much touch it. Like I can put my palm on it. It's so low. So yes,
man.
I definitely punched the ceiling. I've hit my hand on like my table and stuff. And, you know, thankfully I haven't smashed anything. I don't have like vases or anything set up in my play space, but yeah, I thankfully haven't done anything too crazy. But there is a demo for the game, so if you have a headset and you wanted to try out the demo, it'll give you a good feel of what it's like. In my opinion, it's definitely worth picking it up.
Okay, that is it. That's it for Quick Checks. That is it for our episode. Now next week, well, we got 2 things that we could talk about. We're going back and forth. We'll figure out what we're doing, but we could be doing the Netflix comedy series Blockbuster. Man, Netflix really just like driving it in. Yeah, we killed you, Blockbuster. Now we're gonna make a show about you. And then we also have Roku's weird movie, the Weird Al Yankovic movie, the musical parody. So we'll talk about one of those comedies. We'll figure it out. Maybe both. We'll see. But yeah, and I announced it last week, but we got a few more things now in our merch store. You can check out the merch store. We got a cool little mug for your coffee or whatever you want to drink. We got the shirts. We got some stickers. We got some. We're working on some other 1 or 2 more things we'll add in.
Who do we have to pay for the table, for the display table? I know we had to pay for the model.
Yeah, I don't. John, that's all. John, how can they, purchase this stuff again if they're interested?
Oh, I forgot the link that we made. Was it bit.ly/. capital DR merch?
That sounds correct.
All uppercase?
Yes,
I think
all
that's
uppercase.
What it was.
If that doesn't work, check the show notes. It'll be there, a link there on our link tree as well. You can check out that. On Linktree, you'll also see how you can access episodes on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, the blog, doredundancy.com. We're live Monday nights on Twitch, twitch.tv/doredundancy. And of course, you can follow us on Twitter, on Instagram, at doredundancy, at least for the time being. Definitely on Instagram. We'll see about the other one. But all right, I got to thank both you guys for joining me tonight. For John directing the show, getting it up on our Apple Podcasts and YouTube and stuff like that. Yeah, that's it. Until next time, I'm David Allen.
I'm John Berwick.
And I'm Kyle Bridger.
And that's all we got for Do or Duncy. Goodbye, everybody.